the White House is in a state of chaos. Not just because Donald Trump's term is collapsing, because Pam Bondi is unable to defend her cover-up, because Kash Patel keeps getting caught, because everything is crumbling around them. No, that wasn't enough to have political failure after political failure. They needed personal ones as well. And that is what we are seeing with J.D. Vance and Usha Vance, who are having their divorce scandal blown up as a leaked image of Usha, is kind of showing us this is the beginning of the end, and everyone is talking about J.D. Vance is furious. We're going to get into it all. Boy, this just really brings a lot of joy to my heart. But before we get into it, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into that leaked photo of Usha, I want to start with what J.D. Vance had to say yesterday about the administration collapsing around him before we get into his collapsing marriage.
What's so crazy about this, Matt, is right before the government shut down, we had a meeting with Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer in the Oval Office.
Is this where they get President Trump gave them the MAGA hats? Yeah.
This is not just that. But the president whispers to one of his personal assistants. They're all very good people. And she kind of runs off. And I think to myself immediately, oh, what the hell have I gotten myself into? And she comes back with 2 Trump 2028 hats to give to Jeffries and Schumer. And then he has the photographer come in and he points at Jeffries as he's holding the Trump 2028 hat. And he's like, he says to the photographer, make sure Hakeem gets that. I'm sure he's going to want to use it in his campaign advertisements. And it was like a hysterical moment. But when we got to the serious stuff, and they said, we really want to address the health care problem confronting the American people, the president said, well, absolutely. We agree. We want to address the health care problem confronting the American people. In fact, you people screwed it up with Obamacare, the unaffordable.
Oh, we're supposed to be patient now. All of the promises that Donald Trump made on the campaign trail, actually, sorry, let me correct that. All of the lies that Donald Trump told on the campaign trail were about day one. Ukraine and Russia, day one. We were going to find peace in the Middle East, day one. Grocery prices slashed down, day one. And not only has he failed to deliver on any of those problems, he has escalated almost everything that he has said he would fix. Grocery prices are up. On Fox today, they were suggesting that you should buy multiple turkeys because the price of beef is exploding so much. That is on the Fox propaganda outlet, where Jesse Waters said that he doesn't care what's happening to Ghislaine Maxwell and if she's participating in this Epstein cover-up because their job is to lie for Donald Trump. So that paints a picture of how bad things are on the political for J.D. Vance and Donald Trump as their administration falls apart. But of course, there have been rumblings for a while now that Usha Vance, who looks like she has never been sadder in her entire life, the photos of her from the inauguration to now are pretty devastating for Vance, but the latest photo is the worst yet. But it can largely be explained with what J.D. said just earlier this month.
Friends of mine who are in, atheist and Christian marriages, you just got to talk to the only advice I can give is you just got to talk to the person that God has put you with, and you've got to make those decisions as a family unit. For us, it works out. Now, most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will, and so that doesn't cause a problem for me. That's something you work out with your friends, with your family, with the person that you...
Really great to attack your wife and her personal religious choices in front of thousands of students. JD, that was really sweet of you. Does he think that played well? I know all the MAGA religious kind of freaks. And not to say if you're religious, you're a freak. But if you espouse a Christian belief and you are in the Republican Party, your brain is broken. That's not how your religion is supposed to go. Funny, the feed everybody, people don't want to feed to everyone. I guess it just doesn't clock to them. But on the JD of it all, clearly he wishes Ushavans was Eric Kirk, and he could have a nice white blonde lady next to him because he thinks that his wife is going to cause him some political troubles. But clearly Usha Vance is troubled by JD enough, because yesterday when she was on the road, thankfully, probably for her away from JD, these photos of her came out, and you can see that on Usha's hand, there is no wedding ring, there is no wedding band, there is no engagement, nothing. There are no signs of JD. And you can see that this was shared by the official Democrats' account. And I absolutely love it. I think we should be mocking these people. I think that we should be trolling them. I think that it is important to show that their personal lives are falling apart, not only because it's fun, but because they deserve it. 525. And there's so many people who kind of share this sentiment where it's like kind of joking, but like, oh, blink twice, Usha, if you need us to save you. And no, I don't want to save Usha Vance. Like, if she wants out of this marriage, she is more than happy to. She has turned her back on immigrant communities as J.D. Vance bashes her heritage. And so I don't feel bad for Usha because she has co-signed this. She is just as much a part of it as anyone else. So, like, I don't feel bad for her. And if she wants to have a come to Jesus moment, which is, I guess, clearly what J.D. Vance is advocating, but no, if she wants to change her morality, go for it. But as is the same with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who, as I said last night, did not put out a statement about Donald Trump threatening to kill Democrats when she said her mind had changed about political violence now that it was affecting her. Yeah? I don't really have a lot of sympathy for these people until they demonstrate how they have changed, until they demonstrate how they have become better people. And I just think it's funny. I think it's very funny that this is where J.D. Vance is right now, that everything is crumbling around him, that Donald Trump is clearly in a state of cognitive decline, that he himself is losing his grip on his place as the rightful heir to the MAGA kingdom. Largely because the party that he helped make so bigoted is turning on him because of his wife, mind you. Yeah, that's how bad it is. But also because J.D. has been lumped in with the Epstein scandal. So not only is his personal life falling apart, but his political future is as well. I promise you, Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene, who are both going to run for president, are going to hold it against J.D. Vance that he was part of this Epstein cover-up, and there's nothing that he can do to stop that. He is trying so desperately to make dear leader Donald Trump love him again. But it is not going to work, because the last time J.D. had to show up for this administration was by going to Indiana and begging the Republicans there to gerrymander their state to help Donald Trump steal the midterms. What did they say? They said, fuck off. And Donald Trump lost his mind, and J.D. Vance screwed him once again. And now what is the outlook for Donald Trump and his administration heading into the midterms? It is more red states saying we will not gerrymander, and more independents saying this is the worst presidency we have ever seen, as more and more Democrats are fired up and more Republicans are fracturing the base. That is the outlook that Donald Trump has. That is the outlook that J.D. Vance has. And this unpopular administration will hold him down for the rest of his political career. We know that all J.D. Vance wants is the presidency. So much so that he is willing to throw his wife under the bus. Does divorce rumors explode and he doesn't care, and now he's not going to get it? Because look at the outlook for you and MAGA and Trump J.D.
Successfully made healthcare an issue that is front of mind for voters. The polling shows the messaging is resonating with voters. The Obamacare issue has been left unresolved. I think a crazy thing for Republicans to do, because premiums are in fact shooting up. That wasn't made up. And it's going to haunt the entire Republican Party, particularly Republican House members in swing seats heading into the midterms who have to explain what's going on to their voters. In fact, there are reports that some Republicans are already privately panicking over those upcoming elections. We got one new poll that shows Democrats with a gargantuan 14-point lead in the generic ballot. Now, that's an outlier in the polling, and if that ends up being an outlier in the final result, even so, it is very clear when you put all the polling together, the Democrats right now are the ones with political momentum. That's evidenced by the off-cycle elections earlier this month, the first real test we had of all of this, when Democrats flipped the governor's mansion and the state legislature in Virginia, opening up a supermajority there. They became the first party in decades to hold New Jersey's gubernatorial mansion for 3 straight terms, to say nothing of the fact that 34-year-old Democratic Socialist beat both a Republican and a Trump-endorsed independent candidate to become the mayor-elect of the biggest city in the country. In fact, Republicans are so concerned about the midterms, Donald Trump ordered red states to rig their congressional maps, believing that extremely rare mid-cycle redistricting would be his salvation, right? The way to make sure that Republicans face no consequences with actual voters next year. But even in that case, Trump cannot get it over the finish line. Despite bullying and browbeating state legislatures with visits to the White House, personal entreaties by Vice President J.D. Vance, state legislatures under complete Republican control like Indiana and Kansas, to name 2, have refused to go along with this scheme, at least so far. They have told Trump no, they will not do his bidding. Even Texas, which of course did go along with the plan, had its new district struck down by a federal judge this week. Meanwhile, in Deep Blue, California, voters overwhelmingly approved a referendum to draw new maps of their own in order to level the playing field, which means, somewhat comically, at the end of the day, if the Texas map stays struck down, it's entirely possible Democrats end up being the ones benefiting from the whole fight. And then look at what happened in Congress this week, if you're not convinced. Republicans got rolled. They completely caved across both chambers. I mean, only one single Republican voted against the bill to release the Epstein files. That is despite, let's not forget, an enormous months-long pressure campaign from Donald Trump in the White House to block and kill this bill. Trump lost so completely, so thoroughly, he had no choice but to himself sign a bill he hated and opposed behind closed doors. Now, of course, the concern is what exactly Trump might do to distract the country from his losses. The last time Epstein was in the news, he sent federal troops in to occupy Washington, D.C. A federal judge today said that was unlawful. He's threatened to do the same here in New York. There's a worry that as his losses pile up, he will only try harder to become an authoritarian. That is one of the reasons that Democratic members of Congress, both former military and intelligence officials, put out this video this week reminding troops and other officers they do not have to follow illegal orders from the president. In fact, it's crucial they don't. And Donald Trump has been completely melting down over that very video today. He has called for the participants in the video you're seeing on your screen right now, members of Congress, to be tried for treason. He has amplified calls for them to be executed. He has received bipartisan condemnation for his comments. All this is happening at a time when his approval rating has cratered, and it is very clear to everyone, not just people watching, but the people doing politics in Washington, that he is not operating from a position of strength.
It is truly a beautiful thing that this administration is in such disarray, is in such chaos, that is completely crumbling. I am taking great joy in it. I'm loving it. I'm going to cherish it. I'm going to talk about it every single day on this show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you